Yo, 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 what's happening? Peace and blessings, salutations, all of that good stuff. How you doing, honey?
I'm doing good.
That's great.
Good. Hey, everybody.
Hey, guys. It's the soothing sounds of Woke with Kids.
You know what I thought of? Hey, everybody. Looking around. Early
the
Beatles.
Monkeys?
Yeah. Which sounds like early Beatles.
You could tell them private school Negroes. I'm telling you, man. Y'all see that new Kamal? He's got a great special out called Private School Negro.
Oh, no. Kamal Bell.
It's hilarious. It's
awesome.
Hilarious. Anyways.
What we got going on today?
Well, we're going to do some podcasting. You know what it is. We get together every week-ish or so, me and my wife, and we talk about the politics. We talk about the world. We talk about our kids. You know, we talk about the things. And hopefully it doesn't suck. And you guys enjoy it. And everybody moves on with their lives very nicely. Our kids are currently being watched by our good sister friend, Sari. She's been on the podcast a couple of times.
She's never been on the podcast.
Her voice has actually been on the podcast a number of times.
She's never been on the podcast though. We will rectify that in the new year, the new podcast year. I feel like we are July to June or whatever it would be. Yeah,
we're coming up on the anniversary. That's right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, and this is the 97th episode of Woke with Kids, so that also
sounds
feels
about right.
Pretty substantial. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what are we going to do for our 100th?
I don't know. I think maybe we'll tape on location or something. Like, you got to take a field trip. Yeah, a party. Celebrate the chaos.
We did it.
Let's celebrate it.
All right.
Let me turn my mic down just a tiny bit. Squeaky chair, and I don't care. It's a very comfortable squeaky chair. Got to tell you that. Okay. Let's get into some of the things.
Let's just jump in.
The biggest thing that happened to us this week in headline news is SCOTUS. Andrew Kennedy, not to be confused. Anthony Kennedy, not to be confused with JFK or his brother, who's dead and was murdered. But that's usually the only. I'm just keeping it real for the people that don't pay attention to politics very much. Kennedy is a name you heard, right? But this is not the Kennedy you're thinking of. This is Anthony.
Yes.
Anthony Kennedy. He is a Supreme Court justice. He is what is known on the Supreme Court as the swing vote on a lot of.
Sometimes he goes with the conservative end on the announcement, and sometimes he's more with the liberals.
That's right. When he was appointed, however, he was appointed by a conservative judge. God, who was he appointed by? Was it Reagan?
I don't know.
We should actually know this. Anthony Kennedy.
Look it up.
I'm looking it up right now. Anthony Kennedy was appointed by let me just stop stuttering.
Ronald Reagan.
There you go, Ronald Reagan. I thought it was Ronald Reagan. I just didn't trust my memory. He was appointed by Ronald Reagan, so he's appointed by somebody with thoroughly conservative bona fides, but he disappointed a lot of conservatives by his apparent willingness to consider reality in some of his
all
cases.
of them should be moderate. I would take that.
Well,
or they should limit two conservative.
Well, that's part of that's actually part of the bigger problem right now is that the Supreme Court has always been. The Supreme Court isn't supposed to be partisan at all. The Supreme Court is supposed to be a detached interpreter of the law and not involved in the fights, the moral and cultural fights.
And that's why they have an odd number.
Actually, that's part of the reason. But the fact of the matter is that there is no constitutional number of justices for the Supreme Court. So that's one of the things. There's a lot of things that we're learning. Every time something fucks up in this government nowadays, we're learning a whole lot about that part of government. We're learning a whole lot about that organ of government. So it's our turn to pay attention to SCOTUS because we haven't been paying much attention to it at all ever since the Republicans blocked the nomination of Merrick Garland, who was Obama's last appointment to the Supreme Court, which was unjustly blocked because of the so-called McConnell rule at that time, which McConnell said that we should not have hearings on this on a Supreme Court justice nominee while there was a presidential election year. That the people should have their chance to make their political voices known, and that's, goddamn it, that sounds good. Wow, that sounded good at the time.
And
didn't
now
it?
We're saying that it's in a midterm election year, specifically when the Senate is so narrowly divided that we should wait until after the midterm elections so that, again, who we are representing currently can properly represent us in the hearings that happen for the nomination.
Exactly. Sorry, I'm just going to fix your mic there.
Okay.
It wouldn't be It wouldn't be an episode of Woke with Kids. I think people really like to hear your voice in particular. I noticed that we have a lot of fans on Twitter who like to do long threaded quotes of things you say on Twitter.
They quoted you and other things. It wasn't.
I never see me.
It was like different. Okay. You know, one time it was different people and
interesting. Well, anyways,
they quoted not just me.
All right. Well, anyways, it's nice to have fans.
I guess I made a good point that one time.
You made a really good point. No, you're on a roll. I think recently I've been in awe of some of your analysis. Like I just listen to you go and I'm like, damn, she's really been thinking about this. It sounds considered. It's succinct. I just feel like I'm rambling and just kind of spastic, jumping over space. I'm gonna let my wife talk and just sort this shit out for you because right now I'm sort of in a mental chaos. But
try to keep a little balance.
Yeah, no, you're definitely playing the earth role right now and keeping gravity and that kind of thing.
We need to be a little grounded.
Yeah, being grounded is good. And as we know, I have bipolar tendencies, so I'm trying to keep my manic shit under control, especially at this time of the day after I've had a couple of drinks. Anyways, back to the subject at hand.
Please.
SCOTUS.
So Trump nominated Brett Kavanaugh.
He has nominated Brett Kavanaugh after a lot of what has been dubbed by some of the media as a reality show like rollout. It's been a lot of drama, a lot of pauses, a lot of creepy music, foreshadowing, announcements, and that kind of thing. Yeah,
they were like cutting to a lot of different faces. It could be him. It could be him.
It could be him. He flirted with the idea of nominating a woman Supreme Court justice. Which a lot of people were into. Well, let's just talk about that in general.
There was also a person of color, a male person of color.
There was a male person of color. So he did have an opportunity to make some stabs at a number of sort of like, good causes, diversity, feminism, whatever you want to call it. However, at no point in the game was he ever leaving the sort of safe territory of sort of the conservative judicial checklist, right? So all of these people were firmly against Roe v. Wade. All of these people were firmly pro-corporate, corporate power. All these people were, pretty standard run-of-the-mill conservatives because the conservatives in this country have a very strong infrastructure when it comes to vetting their political operatives. Okay, this is something that's not quite the same on the left or amongst the liberals, is that we don't have organizations that sort of rank Democrats by how good a Democrat they are. As a Democrat, you can just kind of be fucked up in your own particular special way. And if your constituency gets down with that kind of fucked upness, then it's okay. We're a very big tent. But the Republican Party, as they increasingly become the party of white, angry men and the women that love them, and the minorities that want to be them, they're increasingly limited in the pool of people that they can get to agree to all the crazy shit that they want to see happen. But in this case, they found somebody, this Kavanaugh guy, and interestingly enough, I found this, the most interesting thing is he is everyone's least favorite choice on the conservative side.
And he seemed to kind of be a dark horse. Like all of a sudden he was at the top of the list.
Yeah, there is that.
And so can you scroll down?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if this is the one, but coincidentally I don't understand the context from which he said that he didn't believe a sitting president, is that what it's called?
Yes, that's right.
Could be prosecuted or charged for criminal.
Yes, it was not in the context
while in office.
It wasn't in the context of a case, but it was a documented record of his opinion on the matter. And also we should also note that this is one of the guys who was also involved in the prosecution of Bill Clinton.
Yes.
Right? So it's interesting to sort of map out his sort of whole constellation of characteristics and attributes and shit when you consider that during the time that he was working in the office of the special counsel, and they were prosecuting Clinton, he was very diligent in his job and the idea that a president needed to be held accountable for his misdeeds and misactions. But then at some later point, apparently, he wrote an opinion which was essentially that it would be so deleterious and so distracting for a sitting president to be sued or the subject of an investigation that it would throw the entire mechanisms of the federal government and a whack. And so it's something that shouldn't be done. So what my wife is very astutely getting to is that out of all of the field of candidates that Trump could have considered, out of all the people that he considered, all of them had fairly consistent moral stances and views on everything. But the one motherfucker that stood out was Kavanaugh and this concept of the unlimited immunity of the executive branch. I mean, can y'all dig that shit for a second?
I mean, it's so consistent though. It's just so blatant.
So blatant. I mean, so naked.
All of his tactics are so blatant.
So naked. And of course this won't have any effect on his constituency and the people that believe in him. But as conscientious, as semi-cognizant as people who just woke up this morning and do not have concussions, we should be able to look at this situation and go, clearly this is a power grab that is against all of the fundamental tenets of what America is supposed to be about. You know, we're not supposed to kiss this much ass. We're not supposed to give anyone this much dynamite to blow this much shit up. So, anyway. There's not much
about what he's blowing up.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about some of the shit.
I mean, was it the UN Council? No, was it UN where the US decided to come out against a breastfeeding support policy with the World Health Organization that we have previously supported. It's been a long history of supporting that, breastfeeding is best whenever possible for 6 months exclusively, and then in tandem with introducing solid foods for up to 2 years. And that also helps to, in terms of global maternity rates, helps to improve the health and life outcome of children, especially in developing countries, when they're able to breastfeed, because sometimes they have difficulty getting access to clean water to make formula, the cost of it.
Yep.
And that's another thing that's like, oh, really? You want to take out some language that explicitly supports breastfeeding, and you also are receiving monies from formula maker, lobbyists. It's just,
well, it's it's part of this thing. It's part of this thing increasing division of sort of, as I'm bucketing my concerns, bucketing my worries, there are certain things that are political disagreements that I have, right? There are some things that I look across the aisle, so to speak, and I go, well, I disagree that government is a fundamental enemy to liberty and freedom. I think the government could actually be an ally to those things, right? But then there's another set of disagreements, which are moral disagreements, which are agreements that I believe that are fundamental and transcend any sort of affiliation of party, because they can be traced back to scientific evidence. For instance, global warming. It doesn't matter if you like the idea of global warming or not. It's more about what are we going to do in response to this scientific reality. It's not so much, do you like public breastfeeding, or do you think it's appropriate for women to breastfeed in public? It's about, do you think that we should accommodate a society where women can give their children the best opportunity, the best nourishment that babies could possibly get, which is natural mother's breast milk coming out of a human titty? I mean, doesn't it make sense? Why are we pulling milk out of slave cows to drink when there is actual human milk coming out of mama's titty, and it's right there, and it should be encouraged? And instead, again, in service to capitalism, what we're doing is we're putting an industry, the formula industry, which has been around, which has been doing this shit forever, since probably World War II, trying to sell you something as a replacement that you already have a natural faculty for. You know what I mean? Like, and not to get on a Woke with Kids tangent, but like, I think about this shit in terms of our phones and our computers all the time. Like, you used to be able to remember phone numbers, right? You don't remember phone numbers anymore.
No.
You used to like have to just remember shit. Like, if your wife told you, go get this from so-and-so, you had to remember, hey, Siri, remind me this shit so that I can do it. I mean, like, so much of this stuff that we're offloading to machines and that we're no longer responsible for, all in the name of capitalism. And so now they want to offload the responsibility of breasts to formula makers, so that breasts can be purely sexual objects for daddy whenever he wants them. Whew. That was a Woke with Kids tangent brought to you by breast milk. So I guess what I'm saying generally is that,
And I made a lot of money in Atlantic City, and I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying about that. Is Trump be trumping, and if you haven't grasped the sort of consistency of his agenda, it's to make money. Which is why, this report came out, which is really funny that there was a pie chart that came out talking about all of the money that Trump has made off of basically just doing business as himself. Since he's taken over the presidency, people who want to do business with him, people who want to people who want to come to Washington, they are coming to Washington and staying at Trump Hotel. They're staying at Trump Hotel to negotiate certain business deals or deals with the government, that kind of thing. And this story is kind of just buried. We don't talk about it. It's not that interesting. Americans don't really like to follow the money unless it's their money. They really don't. We really don't like to count other people's money, which is respectful. But at this point, we really need to look at Trump's money, y'all, because it's not a matter of so much it's not so much a matter of that he inherited it or that being rich is bad or anything like that. It's really a matter that when people get rich, they loan money and they borrow money from each other, and they develop ties and they have obligations to each other. And so we need to understand what the obligations of the guy who has his finger on the button of the nuclear trigger.
This is what we've been saying all along, and this is what the Mueller investigation is about. Like, what the fuck did you promise Putin?
Yo, speaking of which, he met with Putin.
And he was talking about how it was going to be the easiest meeting, and then there was another congressman basically was like, he didn't say that, what he said.
Yes.
It was the opposite. It was like...
And then he wouldn't even let American journalists into it, so we're only going to hear about this shit. I mean, we didn't let many in. Well, so we're going to hear about this from Russian media, and then he comes out of that meeting, and it's
he had it?
I don't even know. No, he didn't have it already, but... after they announced the meeting, he comes out, now he starts saying this shit about, like, Germany is in the pocket of Russia, that they don't have any power, that they're completely leveraged by Russia because of the oil pipeline. And it's like, I mean...
See, in that same oil pipeline is the shit that they was trying to do business on before. That's why it's like, it's so crazy. Like, shut the fuck up. It's like the people, like, again, at the Lufthansa, you buying the mink.
Stop talking.
You buying the mink in the car. Like, why? Like, if you're trying to get this pipeline through and make this money, why would you keep talking about it? Like, that's what the fuck we are already saying. One of the things we're already saying. It's so crazy.
No, that's so real. So like, exactly. So, like, Russia is all about the money, all about the Benjamins, baby. Their sole interest in this, in case you guys are paying along at home, is to get the sanctions that we currently have levied at them so they can get back into the international market and start spreading this oil money around. Because that's all they got is oil money. That's literally the only industry they have. So they are in the midst right now of trying to widen the pipeline to Europe. And what is the best way to make inroads into Europe and make friends all over the world than to weaken the position of the U.S. by making us look like a fucking asshole, by getting us to elect the dumbest, most least charming, most least influential person on the planet.
Charming. You know what I mean? He's charming to white people. Like, I didn't,
but only angry white people. But only,
not necessarily. People liked him on The Apprentice. We were always amused by him. I listened to this journalist who met him like in the 80s or 90s, and I remember she thought, he was kind of ridiculous, but it was an entertaining ridiculous because he just talked about himself. But he's a tall, imposing presence. He's a big guy, right? And he's got weird hair and like orange skin. You notice him, and he's capitalized on that. And he had the money to wear a nice suit,
yes,
and to get to all the parties. It was like Kim Kardashian before that happened, but he's a white male, so we throw everything at him and say, "Oh yes, sir, here you go, sir." He served his way to the fucking executive office.
Absolutely.
So in that sense, there is something that people like about him, and he knows that, and he continues to capitalize.
Ma'am, put that car. Shoot me down for just a second. I just got mad, Johnny.
He turned it up.
What are you getting excited for, Jimmy? What am I getting excited for? You stupid. We got a million fucking bulls out there. Everybody's watching us. You get a fucking car. They're telling me I'm excited. My mother's name. It's a wedding gift. I don't give a fuck whose name it's under. Are you stupid or what? Did you hear what I said? Don't buy anything. Don't get anything. Nothing big. Did you hear what I said?
Listen to him, y'all.
Robert De Niro.
What am I getting excited about? You're gonna get us all fucking pinched. That's why. What are you, stupid? What's the matter with you? I apologize. What's the matter with you?
Apologize. All right. So, anyways, that's basically exactly how I feel about the Trump administration right now.
When are they going to stop? Between him, the kids,
Scott Pruitt getting hemmed up. He finally got the fuck out of there.
Finally had to resign.
Scott Pruitt was the head of the EPA. He was out there doing flagrant shit.
Left and right.
He was building fucking booths, soundproof booths in his office that were unauthorized, that they already had.
Spending official government money on non-government shit.
While doing all the bad shit that you can to the environment.
Trying to undermine all of the environmental protections that we've had for quite some time.
So bad.
Trump. Can we talk about Therese? Damn, what's her name?
All I'm saying is Trump be trumping though. But you know what, guys?
I love my life. I have a wonderful family.
Fuck this guy, man.
So that's all I can say, guys. Just like Trump, guys. I love my wife and I got a wonderful family.
I want to shift if we can.
Well, yeah. We leave Trump be trumping and we leaving Trump?
Yes, okay. To, I think partly the repercussions of Trump, though. So it's not totally leaving him.
Okay.
Therese Patricia Okumu? Sorry, I'm terrible.
Okay.
She is the woman. She is the black woman who climbed the Statue of Liberty and sat at the base in protest of the separation of children from their parents at the U.S. border. I mean, what the fuck? Did you see? I didn't even understand from the ground how high the base is.
Whoops.
How did she even scale that much to get to the base? And she just sat there on basically Lady Liberty's robes. And then relatively calmly was arrested. And at one point when they tried to get her, she went up higher.
Yes. She had a speech that was really good. What was her name again?
Therese Patricia Okumu.
Therese Patricia.
And I had the speech.
You want to play it? That'd be great. Yeah, give us a little love.
First lady that I care so much about. Said when they go low, we go high, and I went as high as I could.
That's all. That's what you needed to hear.
I mean,
given honor
to Michelle Obama. I mean, taking that so literally. We hear, at home crying and praying.
Also, but what's up with African upper body strength? Because this is the second time. This is the second time in recent memory that we have seen our African cousins scaling impossible.
I mean, that's crazy.
What's up with the Spider-Man gene? Is this some shit that that we all have? Can all black people do this?
I firmly believe that each individual should be able to lift their own body weight. Like that, I feel like that's being healthy.
I agree.
If the zombies come, how you getting over the wall? Obviously, we gotta help the children over and the old people. Not every fucking motherfucker. Like, you gotta be able to lift yourself up and get over a wall. Yes. Now, what she has done and what the young African in France, I think it was, did for the baby, that's another level. I mean, we should all aspire to be able to do that, to save a life.
Agree. 1,000%.
Like what? So let's start doing our push-ups, ladies and gentlemen. But how amazing is that? And then she was arraigned. She's out on bail. She's going to have a hearing. People are already, protesting in support. They're also saying be very careful of donating money to any GoFundMes or anything like that, because right after it happened, they hadn't really released an official GoFundMe site, like through her lawyers, and people at this point will try and take advantage. It's so easy to crowdfund thousands of dollars.
I think about that
for a good cause. That at this point you really do need to do your homework to ensure that you're giving money to a good organization or the proper people. But so that happened. That so do you want to
that changes it? Whoa, good Lord!
In the
Turn that auto off.
Too many good things here happening on my Instagram timeline.
Good gracious.
On that note, I did want to talk about the videos or headlines that we've seen about some of these immigrant mothers being reunited with their little children. And I saw one where, it was heartbreaking. It wasn't even really bittersweet. It just was heartbreaking. This mother was in tears, so happy to see her daughter after months. And the little girl just stood there, like she wasn't even expressing relief or joy at seeing her mom. She looked just a little traumatized. Not a little. She looked a lot traumatized.
1,000%.
Unable to really move and react.
Is this the one?
Yep.
I think that's the one.
55 days. Her daughter was 8. Yes, and there's others with younger children. Oops. I read about a judge who even said that he was embarrassed to try to ask this 1-year-old if he understood the proceedings happening. Because it was a 1-year-old.
Because it's a 1-year-old, yeah.
I've read that at least 9 of the children who've been separated from their parents have already been deported. What the fuck? You know, and I saw, I don't know if it was a tweet, but it's like, when you go to the airport, they put tags on your bags. But when you go to the fucking coat check, you get a little ticket so that you can be reunited with your belongings. But here, they took your children and didn't give you shit. No identifying markings or papers?
I mean, basically, the only way I can even grapple with disgusting. This, only way I can begin to approach this intellectually is the dehumanization factor. We talk about universal human dignity on this podcast because it's a fundamental concept to the way that I view the world, to the way my wife views the world. And what I'm seeing now in the world right now, I want you guys to see this. What I'm seeing in the world right now is the anger and the rage that the former majority of this country, that white men have felt at being displaced, at whatever this zeitgeist or whatever this constituency of Trump is, because I don't want to characterize them too harshly, because I don't even know if they're aware of all the damage and the harm that they're doing, to be honest. But the collective rage of these people is being harnessed by rich people, by essentially people who know better and whose only interest is to preserve their own particular power vantage. And to do so, they are willing to engage in this thing that we have done throughout history over and over again, which is to dehumanize human beings. You know, that was why, you know, when America, in the beginning of America, when we needed a cheap labor force in order to build America, that's why niggers were invented. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't because white people are evil inside and because they just came out of Europe and wanted to conquer the world and that kind of shit. No, it's because they were poor in Europe. They figured out how to build boats and gunpowder, and that was a dangerous combination, because then everywhere they went, they said, oh, y'all got some shit that we want. Oh my God, you guys got this. How about if we just take it because we have gunpowder and you don't? That's literally all it was. And and now we're so used to them being the dominant force all over the country, we think that that's just some natural state, but it isn't. And so now that the rest of the world is catching up to the technological power, catching up to the economic power, particularly I'm speaking of China in particular, what you're seeing is now that things are changing, we're moving into a period of history where now white people are fighting to preserve their status. They're not fighting to expand it. They're just fighting, and they're fighting to preserve what is a shrinking share of power in the world, and it's terrifying to them. And so that the rage of the people of their constituency is being focused against those who are part of the sort of expansion of this global economy. That's why you hear all this on the right about being anti-globalist, or you know, these pejoratives of being a neoliberal or a global capitalist and the kind of thing. The fact of the matter is that America got rich on the backs of the world, just like every other colonial empire. But now the rest of the world is starting to catch up through technology and through these advancements, and America is fucked up about it. It's a little fucked up about it. So we got to keep that in mind in terms of these larger movements of why a Trump and why this agenda can even get off the ground, and why it could be, you know, this effective out there and shit. So they're dehumanizing niggas. Now they get to dehumanize Latinos, just like these people can dehumanize anyone. And then once you have someone who's dehumanized, once you have created this nigger, then anything can be done to them. Any rage can be focused on them, any disappointment, anything that's ever been done. And what's an easier target than an immigrant? I
think on that note, can you pull up the story about the man, what was he, like 90, visiting from Mexico? He was here one goddamn motherfucking day, and some bitch, I'm sorry, but some white bitch hit him with a brick, yelling, "Go back to Mexico." I mean, unbelievable. Really? Is that what it's become? That's who you are? That's who you are? You don't know this motherfucker from Adam? You know, he could be here visiting, seeing his baby grandchild, his new grandbaby that he's never seen. You're gonna fucking yell at him and assault him? And knowing he's old, you could fucking kill him? Like, ugh, it's just the level of disgusting hatred to dehumanize someone to that extent. I mean, you have dehumanized yourself.
Yeah, goddamn. Yeah, like, you can't hold anybody down without getting down on the ground with them. You can't.
Disgusting.
Look, check this out. So this story.
Lord.
So and this follows a recent racist tirade against the Mexican landscaper that you guys, which is a whole different thing that happened.
There's the guy yelling at the woman wearing a Puerto Rico shirt, talking about you shouldn't be wearing that. And that's the other thing. Y'all motherfuckers are so stupid. She literally explained it. She was like, the United States owns Puerto Rico. He was like, no, they don't. She was like, it's a U.S. territory. We're citizens. He was like, no, you're not.
This is
and
why
then she kept asking the police officer to help her because he was clearly harassing her. He was following her around. She had paid money to have an event in this public space. She had a permit.
Yes.
And this fucking ranger totally allowed this old white man to harass her. And then finally, like her big brother or whatever rolled up and he was like, don't you fucking take another step. Then the officer tried to be like, yo, back up. And she was like, how you gonna come at my brother defending me when you didn't do shit when I was asking you to help this man rolling up on me?
Now we talk that, yes.
I mean, I saw someone posted that, he's under some sort of investigation. I can only hope.
Well, I mean, that just really
it just continues to me, it begs prove who can get away with what.
I was gonna say that to me that begs the question of essentially this whole argument, this debate about civility. What the fuck does it mean? Because we know what it means.
All I know is white people better fucking think twice before they call the cops and try to cause some shit. Because there was another bitch who tried to call people at the pool because the dude has socks on, talking about that's not pool attire, and I'm the property manager, called the police. And
she was
fired.
Manager. Yes, that was
the property owners. The company was like, we fired her, and she will never be hired again at any of our properties. So, word to the wise: tell your friends, tell your racist neighbor, like, I would think twice before calling the cops on me if there is clearly no criminal activity and you're completely projecting your own racist stereotypes onto innocent people.
That's an encouraging one of them. It seems to go back and forth and. Yes, okay. That makes sense. I felt like
it was a sign. Let me see. Okay, this is a good break for me.
Okay, so we got to take a break, guys. I'm gonna stop the live cast.
Do some more.
Catching hell. Yeah, I can tell you guys some more catch. All right, so Mel's gonna go take a break right quick. But so yeah, there's been a lot of this. Yes, exactly, Al. We're seeing the true face of our country, but I think the important thing to remember about the media is that and the way that consciousness works is that. It's hard to keep two opposing ideas in our head at the same time. So while it's important to remember that the truth is that there are people out there who are apparently willing to be deeply racist or deeply violent in order to justify their sense of self, there are also people out there who are counteractive of that. There are also people out there that are good people that wouldn't resort to that. And I think that's important to remind in this conversation because, I'm from the South and I didn't grow up around devils. You know what I mean? There were devils, but not every white person I ever met was a devil. Not every white person I meet now is a devil. Not every cop I meet is a devil. However, it is the small amount of white devils that exist that do sort of sully the whole pot and kind of make you suspicious of anybody else that you might be running into or whatever. But there was this incident that just happened. There was a white teen driver who hit and killed a black man with his truck. And then he joked about it on Snapchat and he was cleared of fault by police in the collision. And this just happened. And in May, Matthew Martin of Henston, Louisiana, posted a video about his chance encounter with Cheryl Lewis Jr. on the side of a highway. Under the video, Martin joked about hitting, quote unquote, some nigger. Lewis died from being struck by that vehicle. Okay. Louisiana State Police said in a statement on Facebook that a very thorough and comprehensive investigation into the crash didn't show that Martin broke any traffic laws when he struck Lewis. I mean, what do you say to that? I mean, it's like, okay, on one hand, sure, I guess technically it isn't. If you didn't mean to kill somebody when you hit them, then you didn't mean to. But also, seems a little suspicious that a dude that said I hit some nigger is being let off on that. I mean, is that not a hate crime to admit to? I don't know. These are things that as black people, though, we are confused. Either we are the victims of some cosmic misunderstanding, some deeper level of white logic that we cannot penetrate, or in fact, people simply do not value our bodies and or our lives at the same rate that they do white people. And that is why we respond in this way, and why it feels so egregious when I'm reading Breitbart. I'm seeing article after article on Breitbart about immigrants and MS-13s who are apparently who raped or killed somebody, some citizen or whatever. But here's the thing, is that Americans are raping and killing Americans as well. So it's kind of strange that it's kind of strange, not strange, because I get it, I see what you're doing, but it's kind of strange that you would zero in on crimes committed by a very specific and a very small minority of people, rather than admitting that the vast majority of the crimes of this nature are actually committed by people who speak the same language, have the same accents, and in fact have social security numbers. Okay. But if you focus that attention on that type of story and say, well, these immigrants are doing this, and these and they don't say black. They never talk about black people anymore because they're smart. They're smart. They know that if they try to paint black people as criminals or some shit like that, then it's going to go off the rails. But they feel very comfortable painting immigrants and Latinos with this very broad brush because for some reason they are safe to demonize. I don't know why, but they are, and so they do that shit, and that gives them the cover that they need to go off and do all their evil shit. But when I'm reading them and they're doing that, it's very clear that the strategy of harping on those type of stories is to distract from the very actual reality of minorities who are being disproportionately victimized and targeted, not just by police, but by everyday citizens who apparently can't stand the idea of black people swimming or mowing the lawn or just generally being about their business and being black in the world. And the suspicion is justified by the repetitiveness of these types of stories. So anyway, that's what we're talking about. And I guess we're officially in the catching hell part of the segment. Let me see. Here's another one while Mel's still out there. Bum you guys out because it's my favorite part of the show. Is a 12-year-old lawn cutting CEO gets police called on him yet again, thanks to nosy white neighbors. Okay, you might remember this guy. It was a young black boy, Roger Fields, who is the founder and CEO of Mr. Reggie's Lawn Cutting Service, was among a group of children invited to an Independence Day party hosted by Lucille Holt Colden, the Maple Heights grandmother who hired him to mow her lawn June 23rd, right? So, as Holt and her guests were enjoying dinner in her front and backyards, the police cruisers arrived at her home. It turns out that the neighbors were summoned by the woman's next door neighbors, Randy and Linda Krakora. Krakora, that's a great name. Love that name. Sounds like a villain. The same couple who'd called the cops on her and Reggie just 11 days earlier, okay? For mistakenly mowing a part of their lawn. Do you hear that? They were mad at a little black boy accidentally mowing their lawn. Now, back in my day, if somebody mowed your lawn for free, that was a great thing. But things have changed apparently, and so have white folks. So I don't understand that. They don't appreciate Negroes working as hard as we once did. So the great news is that there were no arrests made. The police didn't actually do anything because it's ridiculous. What are you going to do? Haul a little boy off to jail? You know what I mean? Don't be ridiculous. You know what I mean? Guys, come on, just be on the podcast. Yeah, what are you doing? Crying out loud.
I was letting you finish about the boy.
No, I'm just stretching here. I'm just bumming people out with...
You said you were going to stop. I didn't know you were...
Yeah, okay. Let's just get into it. All right, back. Mel's back. Mel's back. I don't have to stretch anymore. We can get into some more segments other than Catching Hell. Because I can go on and on. I can basically make the whole show about how they exactly existing while black, about all the times that they fucked up black people today.
Okay, last one, because this is one I really wanted to talk about. This fucking old white bitch on the bus was damn near sitting on this black woman talking about, this is my seat, and the woman was like, no, you can't sit here because I'm sitting here. And she kept being like, get up, almost damn sat in her lap, and then was like, where are you going, and the woman was like, this is not my stop, I'm not getting off. It was insane.
In LA?
No, in London. I don't know if it was in London, but they seem to have British accents.
And what was the... Wow, look at this.
It's not good audio.
I'm sorry.
But she literally wouldn't sit down. She wouldn't take another seat. There's so many empty seats. Even the one right next to her.
Sorry, but I feel
right in front of her. Yeah, exactly. That's what you need to say. She said, I'm not getting enough here. I mean, her face, I was
sounded like your mama.
She did. Yeah, that's what I thought. Hey, there's a lot of Jamaicans in the UK. She said, I'm not getting enough. And she was like, and she had this look like, bitch, I dare you to sit on me and try to make me get up. And the old lady tried. She tried.
Hey man, I'm telling you, this tension. Hey, look, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. But this tension that we're feeling overall, okay, just keep in mind, guys. I hate to blow your minds, but this tension you're feeling overall is because there's too many motherfucking people on the planet, and we don't know what to do with them right now. Okay, just overall big picture. Just remember. There's a lot of motherfuckers on the planet, and we all need space, and we all think we deserve things. Television has an all-time high promising everybody everything their heart can desire, and the world's resources are at all-time low. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Why people are so angry? So this is why I feel like it's important for me to bring back that the medicine for all of this is compassion. The medicine we have to keep in mind is that these people, human beings, are not the enemy. It's that these evil spirits get into our brains because of circumstances, because of our weakness, because we are weak beings, because we are beings prone to temptation, because racism is a temptation, sexism is a temptation. You know, all these things that oppression is a temptation. It's like, I can do it. Why shouldn't I do it? I can do it. Why shouldn't I do it? You know, I'm constantly trying to explain to my son why he shouldn't kill these fucking ants or whatever, you know, or smush, you know, or like, you know, whatever. Things that kids do to living beings, but you're like, don't do that because one day, you know, you may be fucked with by, you know, the return of Cthulhu and the ancient alien gods that are going to come back and mess with our brains or whatever. Anyways, not to digress. I know my way. I know every once in a while. Every once in a while, I like to throw in my true self into the podcast. Lord have mercy. Okay. Okay. Anyway, I'm back. I've returned from the 9th level of the outer ether. I was
fantastic.
I was rung back by the goddamn Instagram fucking auto feed. I hate that shit. It's so fucking annoying.
But it brought you back, so I think it was useful and purposeful.
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
All right. So what are we talking about now? Are we done with Catching Hell? We're done with Catching Hell, right?
I think we can be done with it.
Okay, we're done with Catching Hell.
Let's do something a little bit wacky. We were on another podcast this past weekend called The Shiznit Show.
It was The Shiznit.
And Yaze was, you know, the common thread there. He listens to the podcast, and I don't know if Dino Red had reached out to us, or I don't really know the beginnings of this relationship, but it finally came together, and we were co-hosts on The Shiznit Show with Dino Red, Pip Lily,
yes, and Dijon. Yes. They were
a lovely trio.
Dino's
people.
Dino's a fantastic guy. I don't know him extremely well, but all the vibes are sounding in the positive. We went over to the crib. He's got a big house over in Leimert Park ish, right? And
it was really great. We were on episode 165 of their show, and they're part of the Red Rock Podcast Network. So check it out if you get a chance.
Check it out.
Thank you, Dino, Pip Lily, and Dijon. Thank you so much for having us. It was a great conversation. I really enjoyed that, and it's nice when we can kind of link up like that. Next up, we need to do one with Damn We Grown, now that we've especially put them a face to the name. That would be, I think, another fun conversation.
But we're also gonna have the Shiznit Show guys on our podcast as well. We're gonna do
definitely
a crossover with them as well. No, it was definitely dope. It was a good time.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Damn We Grown. I really enjoyed meeting them at the Solnik festival. That was dope. So we're definitely trying to be more social and just, you know, get out there and do the damn thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful,
do you want to do some shout outs?
Not really, but
okay, we can do. What do you got with it? What do you want to talk about then?
How about some?
I'm trying to keep it moving.
No. I mean, shout outs are great. We'll do them in the end though. Let's talk about
Sorry, y'all. I started watching the season finale of The Handmaid's Tale. Talk about it. So my mind is not completely here.
Talk about The Handmaid's Tale. Tell me about that, because I don't watch it, because I'm saving it up. I think I'm going to watch it, but I'm scared. I'm scared as a man.
Yeah, it's scary. It's fucking terrifying.
Can I get a cig? Yeah. Can I get a fly, please? Can I get a fly, please?
Do you mind handing me that yellow pack of American Spirits on the document tray? Yeah. Sorry, I give you these ones because you're just kind of smoking it, so I can't give you my super expensive one. I hope you understand. It's not personal.
But even if I'm getting, you're not getting me much to say, you know what I mean, Heart in the matter. I'm going to have to name that character one day.
Please do. So, The Handmaid's Tale, it's on Hulu. It's about a dystopian society where fertile women become handmaidens to powerful couples, men really, and their wives. And it's a society where patriarchy reigns, and people who are transgender or gay or want rights and autonomy and independence, particularly women, are ostracized. And this follows our lead character June, or Uffred, and her life, as a handmaid. Anyway, it's fucking crazy. It's 2 seasons in. It is the finale. Things are happening. It's tense.
Yeah, I could.
I'm 10 minutes in, so
I'm going to watch it. I'm going to binge it.
Oh god,
it's not bingeable.
Not
bingeable. Because I was thinking I was going to binge it on the flight.
2 at the most. 2 at the time at the most.
Okay.
And you have to go back to season 1. It's like Game of Thrones. Like, don't overdo it. Like, just take your time.
Okay, I'm definitely going to do it.
It's almost over. Just wait and then pace yourself. But yeah. It's fantastic TV. The acting's great. It's all good. So
wonderful. Yeah. Well, that sounds fantastic. Let's talk about some more entertainment stuff since we're in that zone. Let's entertainment. I like this great little. I'm experimenting with music that I don't own, playing on the.
Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. You don't stop. Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. You don't stop. Yes, y'all.
So you're playing it.
Yeah, playing it. I'm playing it. So yes, y'all. Let's see what's great up there in the world. Did you guys hear that Mike Epps and Kevin Hart are not getting along still?
I did not.
Yeah, they're beefing for some reason, which I cannot understand, and it distresses me deeply. This is it
a height thing?
Is it a what?
Height.
I'm sure it has something to do with that. But this is that's funny actually. Let me see what I got so far.
Imagine that. Melissa made a funny.
I don't know why my wife thinks I have a low opinion of her humor, but I actually find
every
her
time
delightful.
you're always so surprised. Anytime I say something like clever or insightful, you're like, oh, look at that.
The funny thing is that everyone else interprets that as my charm, because I seem to be delighted by them every time that they say something or make it funny or whatever. And that really is where it comes from, is that I just sort of, when you say something funny, it's like somebody saying something funny for the first time. I think this shit is...
Sure, but I've pretty much seen you every day for the last 10 years. You can't compare.
Literally every day is like a new day with you, is how I feel. I live in just sort of in awe.
Yeah, see, I've been around too long to like...
I didn't know that. Now y'all know I don't like this little motherfucker.
Just tell me what you just said, you unattractive bastard.
What should I do?
Let me tell you what he just said. The unattractive bastard. First of all, put it in light so they can see me. I said, hey Mike, what the fuck, man? What's going on with us? Mike go, Kevin bipolar. I go, well Mike, that's fucked up, because I got nothing but love for you. So let's figure our shit out now. Mike say, oh well nigga, it is what it is, man. I love you, you love me. Be cool about it. I say, fine, Mike. So now people just let the world know, face to face, man, the man we all were supposed to be. Comedic brothers, love him, he loved me, but our shit is done. Okay?
Wonderful. I think that's wonderful. I think that's wonderful. They've been kind of quote unquote beefing for a long time, because Mike Epps says that Kevin Hart isn't funny. Kevin Hart shoots back and, always talking about like, why you hating on me? Why can't you just see that my success isn't your failure? That kind of shit. It's kind of a brotherly like tit for tat. I think the shit is adorable because both of them are fucking hilarious.
There's so much room for both of them, and they're doing their movie thing. That's cute. Okay.
I love it. I love it. So
he said Epps is petty. people feel some kind of way when you've been grinding for many, many years, and then you basically help pave the way for someone newer or who hits later to have more success, in the sense that they are offering probably bigger paychecks to Kevin Hart for some of these movies, where back when, Mike Epps was doing it, they still weren't giving niggas money, really.
Yeah, true. And also, I think Mike Epps has played a different game, and there's always been a lane for black people who are willing to, frankly, to be uncontroversial, to be like not provocative in a political way, in a divisive way. And Kevin Hart is very much in the vein of Eddie Murphy, very much in the vein of, I hate to say it, but the artist formerly known as Bill Cosby. He's one of
Kevin Hart is?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Kevin Hart is
commercially acceptable.
He's commercially acceptable. His comedy is not divisive. It's not aimed at sort of like identity politics or things like that. It's very storytelling driven. It's all about, it's self-deprecating. It's exactly the type of humor that has always gone over well with black people and white people audiences. It's like the middle ground shit. And when you do that, you always going to have a type of black comedian who comes from the Richard Pryor school or whatever, the early Richard Pryor school, which is going to look at that and be like, well, yeah, nigga, you playing it safe. Of course you're going to get that, but they won't give that to, us black folk who are out here being more controversial and,
it's like Monique and whoever.
Exactly right. So whoever. So
what else we got? Oh, my fave, Cardi B had her baby.
Yay!
Culture Kiari Cephas.
Culture with a K. Culture with a K.
Well, I didn't realize Offset's name was really like, not Kiara, I don't know how you say it, but that's the only pronunciation I know for that spelling.
Black people are man, we are so good with these names, man.
So
can't nobody fuck with us on these names,
but
man.
They usually have meaning.
They do. That's what I'm saying. That's why black people are the best with it.
Of various African languages.
Yes, or for that matter, named after black people who have like actual historical value. Like our kids are named after Langston and Ralph Ellison. So like black people are really into putting meaning into names, which I feel like is dope. And culture sounds like a very meaningful name, although.
And I think other cultures do it too. I think even white people do it, and I just think that because we don't study any African languages and global history in that way and give the same amount of value, we don't know what these names mean, and we don't decide to find out. We just decide, they're ghetto.
Yes, possible. That's
because they're unfamiliar. But I love that story. That actress from Orange Is the New Black, Uzo Aduba, she plays Crazy Eyes, and her given first name is Uzo Amaka. And she went to school, and the teachers could never say her name. And one time she came home and told her, Nigerian mother, like, I want my name to be Zoe. And the mom was like, what the fuck? And she was like, well, they can never say my name. And the mom says, well, if they can learn to say Dostoevsky and Michelangelo and basically all these other white names from Europe, then they can learn to say Uzo Amaka.
Word.
And now she's so happy and proud of her name.
No, that's real. When I first changed my name to Nyaze, I started working in advertising. I used to go out of my way to try to tell people like, just call me Yaze or Zay or whatever's most comfortable to you. Whatever the fuck comes out of your mouth and it has those syllables. I'm good with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just here. I just want to work. Just want to be down. You know what I mean? And
call me bro.
Yes, bro is cool, guys.
Call me bro. I'll look up.
Seriously. And then and like now as I've gotten older and more experience and I got more clout in my career or whatever, like man, I will sit there with a person for 5 minutes like with the tongue at the top of the mouth, with the roof of the mouth is what you want to, with the tongue at the tip you want to go nyaza. You see what I'm saying? No, you're saying it right but not quite. And them motherfuckers will sit there and all day long try to respect your heritage. So make them respect your heritage. Point yeah, make them respect your heritage, man. Exactly. Make them respect you. This was a story that caught my attention. I thought the shit was just sort of indicative of our culture and where we are right now in terms of like, as this social media frenzy jumps off and like what the nature of fame and shit. But anyways, so last week, an actress and a photographer, Rosie Blair, asked to switch seats with a woman on a plane from New York to Dallas so that she could sit next to her boyfriend, right? So Blair then proceeded to live tweet as she observed the woman and her new seatmate, the one that she had switched with, eventually start flirting, discussing their mutual love of working out, and subtly touching elbows, okay? All captured by Blair. Her thread then went mega viral, racking up like almost 1 million likes, getting picked up by national news items, and earning Blair thousands of new followers, all right? Dope. So great. Viral. Everybody wants to go viral. Oh my God, yay! Okay? So the shit, everyone thought it was dope at first, but then some started to find it more creepy and intrusive because now people are hunting to find the identity of the couple. All right, so they found one under the hashtag Plain Bay, and it was a former professional soccer player named Juan Holden. All right, so he dug it. He jumped on the bandwagon. He's like, yeah, I'll appear, I'll talk, whatever. But the woman that he was so-called flirting with on the plane was not down with the shit. All right, but it didn't stop people from tracking her down, and she started receiving crass, sexually explicit messages and all this kind of shit. So she had
trash.
She had to deactivate her social account, and she declined an invitation on the Today Show. So like if she was thirsty, she would have been on TV, been, racking up these likes or whatever, this clout. But instead, she deactivated her social media account. So she's totally keeping the same energy. But like, what the fuck is this? Is there no law? Like, if I work in advertising, and anytime we go shoot somewhere, if they're like random randos in the picture or whatever, we got to get every one of those motherfuckers to sign off on being, in our venture or whatever. So of course we're making a commercial production, but this woman has now made the step to actually appearing and profiting off of this video she made of this other person and this dude. And I'm like,
there was another video. I don't know if it was like a Walmart or whatever, but these white ladies were going crazy, and somebody was videotaping this ratchet family. She was like, if you put me on YouTube, I'm gonna sue your ass.
Show you on my phone that you are? Please. You are what?
She was like, you better not put it on Facebook. She's like, I'm not gonna put it on Facebook. Of course, it's all over Instagram. It ain't on YouTube. It ain't on Facebook.
They will not go to Facebook. All right. That is perfectly fine.
One of them holding the baby. It looks so bad. The 9-year-old jumping in, trying to get some money back at the store.
People don't have no respect, man. I like that shit that what's the character on Atlanta? Every time they try to take his picture, he hold his hands up and you can never get his picture. You know what I'm talking about? My favorite dude, the hippie nigga. But yeah, man, like people are Darius, thank you. People are not respecting the sanctity of people's image. You know what I mean? Like, that's a sacred thing. This is the only, we are all divine representations of the divine in the flesh. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to use my personage to aggrandize yourself, then I need to benefit from it too. And if I don't want to participate, you shouldn't be able to aggrandize yourself. You should apologize. You should step away from the story because it's not your story to own. I'm just disgusted by the shit because I can imagine very easily being drawn into the context of a conversation where you simply just don't want to identify. I mean, notwithstanding the whole idea how creepy the fuck it is to like a woman that you were chatting up on a plane. Now you're talking about and discuss her on like, a talk show, a TV show. It's weird.
What's crazy about that is like, you don't even know her life. What if she was married? What if she was in a partnership?
What if she's in a witness protection program or some shit? You know what I mean? You don't know who this woman is.
It's any number of things why you really shouldn't put people on blast. I mean, particularly in that sense, they're not, doing a racist rant. They're not harming a child.
Right. You're not
like what?
You're not exactly. They didn't do anything wrong and they didn't ask for this so-called blessing that you're trying to bestow on them. All right. So there's that. Also, I think I got to mention Drake breaks a 54-year-old Beatles record with 7 simultaneous top 10 songs. I feel a way about this, okay?
Oh, really? Not a good way?
Well, I feel mixed because on one hand, not to get into a deep hip-hop conversation because that's not really our spin here, but, I've always felt a way about Drake because, to be quite honest with you, I didn't know how to feel about a light-skinned Canadian dude who wasn't making who wasn't taking a street-based stance, who didn't seem to be taking any political stances, but seemed to be benefiting from sort of a lot of black swagger. So I always feel a kind of a way about that. But whatever. Fuck it. We live in the Drake era. I'm with it. And Jay-Z sort of co-signed him on the last record. So whatever. Fuck it. Okay, I'm with it. He seems to be saner than Kanye. But I'm a little leery of all these new headlines coming out of like motherfuckers breaking all these records and shit because people aren't even buying the same product that they were back in the 90s. I mean, people used to have to buy something called a CD, a physical object, and you take it home and then you owned it and then you could do whatever you want to do with it, but you had to go buy an actual object and actually commit to that object. Nowadays, people are just streaming shit, right? And if you release an album with 50 songs on it and you're a superstar, you're naturally going to get a lot of streams. And I'm just like, what does that even mean if like nobody bought the shit, but everybody's just streaming it? I mean, it's like, and then You're breaking a Beatles record? Do you know the fucking impact the Beatles had? Like, I just feel like these records are misleading in terms of like what they mean and the impact they have in the culture.
Kylie Jenner getting on the billionaires list, like the youngest billionaire? Yeah, her makeup line. Kylie Jenner, she's the billionaire.
Damn. I guess I'm glad for the black baby that she has.
I mean,
like I can't be mad that another black prince is going to be born in the lap of luxury and have access to all the shit that life can offer. But I do sometimes have to question what the values of this country are morphing into when, you know, you can have $1 billion. What is it? Did you say fashion?
No, makeup
line. You know, from a woman whose family's key claim to fame is that once upon a time one of the sisters was in a porno.
But that's the thing. They really have, but that's not the key anymore. Their show is like the longest running reality TV show. Each child has basically built $1 million, if not $1 billion business of their own, like under their name. Sure. So,
and I guess Kim is out there right now freeing black women and
that didn't hurt for Kim's video didn't hurt, but the mom was pimping Bruce Jenner out. That's how they initially got their money. So I always kind of got to give it up to Kris Jenner because she was like, look, bitch, I know we rich, but you got to come up with your own millions too, because we're not going to support you forever.
All right, fair enough. I won't get hung up on that. God bless the Kardashians. The
Jenners.
The Jenners. I mean, they fucking a lot of black men. Apparently, they do like us. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, at this point, I guess y'all are gonna be at the cookout forever. So there's no reason.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they can have their own cookout.
Yeah,
I'm just saying they are doing something.
Yes, they are. And Kim is definitely out there trying to use her fame to do good things. You know, she's getting black women out of prison and trying to champion good causes. So I'm not mad at the Kardashians per se. It's kind of like. When good things happen for a bad reason kind of shit. The universe is just a very interesting place.
All right, what else?
Speaking of Cardi B got roasted by Funk Flex and others because she called herself the King of New York. What do you think of that?
I have no thoughts.
No thoughts on that. Okay, fair enough. That's all I got on that per se. See what else we got. Talked about that.
Let's see.
I might be all I got right now. Yeah.
I think we got it.
I think we talked about some good stuff.
That's pretty much what I had pinned down.
Okay, one last thing. White folks got schooled about not being the only ones with blonde hair. Okay, this happened because Zac Efron, who you may know, is a white guy, debuted a photo of himself on Instagram with dreadlocks. As
trashy looking dreadlocks. They look terrible.
As white guys will do sometimes.
I mean, sometimes you see white dudes with like legit dreadlocks.
So they're the dreadlocks right there, guys. So you got some dreadlocks, and
I love Zac Efron. I mean, we are Astro twins. His birthday is October 18th. I saw that movie. I don't know where him and like Matthew whatever Perry from Friends like switch.
Oh yeah. I can't remember.
He's cute. Okay, I wasn't into the High School Musical shit, but. He's a cutie, but yeah, this is like I can't see no pictures of that.
So he posted this picture of himself, and one person wrote on his Instagram, commented on Instagram, "Mate, this is literally culture appropriation. Are you black? No, delete this." Another added, "It's cultural appropriation."
It's called culturally, like correcting the guy.
Yeah. As fans jumped to Efron's defense, one man dragged the Run the World singer Beyonce Knowles into the mix and said, "Nobody criticizes Beyonce, right? Why you gotta be the beehive in this? Nobody criticizes Beyonce for stealing long, flowing blonde hair from white culture. Another double standard." Social media followers, thank God for Black Twitter, okay? Schooled Twitter user Robin Bullock, who appeared to be an older white man, on the origin of black people with blonde hair. One person mentioned the derivation of blonde afros from the people in Melanesia, Australia. Blonde hair is natural amongst the people of the Solomon Islands. And check this shit out.
I gotta jump in here though.
Go for it.
While this is true, and I have seen images like this before, what Beyonce is sporting is long, straightened blonde hair, which is not what the natural hair texture is of the people he is saying about the Solomon Islands.
But didn't you hear about the other thing that her hairstylist came out and tweeted that basically like Beyonce was wearing her natural hair in a photo. You didn't see this?
No, I didn't.
This is the thing that her hairstylist. Shit, let me find it. Beyonce's hairstylist came out and said her hair was natural. Beyonce hairstylist.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess I take it back. I take it back. But, I mean, I kind of still see what they're saying because generally long, straight, blonde hair is traditionally the natural hair, look, style, and texture of people from Europe, descended from, Caucasians or Aryans or whatnot. So,
insane.
It's dye. I mean, are we saying that like Beyonce doesn't even dye?
You know what they say? If you got it, flaunt it. I mean, if I was a celebrity with a ton of money, I sure would.
It is annoying, but it's BET trying to get this money.
But are we saying that she doesn't even dye her hair?
That is somewhat up for debate.
Insane celebrity purchases.
Who BET? Y'all trying to get
like random pop up.
I don't even know where the video is coming from.
Just close it, shut it down, just trash the whole thing in the trash.
Lord have mercy,
just trash it all.
But yeah, so her hairstylist is saying that this shit is real. And I don't know.
This blonde on this black skin and blonde hair is super cute on these little babies.
God damn it! Look at it again. Look how beautiful these. I mean, they are gorgeous. They are gorgeous. I'm gonna dye our kids' hair tonight. I just need to.
Yeah, that's what we're not going to do.
But also, interestingly enough, that blonde hair is a completely different genetic set from white people's blonde hair. Gotcha. Which is interesting enough to know. It's like, so it's just to go to show that black people have blonde hair. It's not something that white people own is the point of it.
No. Where, by contrast, there are no white cultures that, dreadlock their hair.
Correct. That we know, that I know of at least. I don't know of any.
I would love for someone to post that.
I do not know of any. All right, one last one, and then we can get the fuck out of here. This is just a
shout outs.
Super yes, y'all. I just want to shout out the woman, first black woman to become a female nanoscientist in Virginia's history. A 22-year-old black woman has made history as the first black female nanoscientist. Janai, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Ginai, I think it's Janai Seabrun, graduated from Virginia Tech's nanoscience program and shared the news on Twitter, what was retweeted 1,000 times.
Wow, she's 22.
Nanoscience, y'all.
You ever feel like you're not doing enough with your life?
I mean, nanoscience.
Between this chick right here, Therese climbing the Statue of Liberty, sometimes I'm like,
unbelievable.
I'm quite a bit older.
Nanoscience is that shit that they talk about whenever they want to explain something magical in science and sci-fi films. Like, that's what they say. It's like nanobots, and they did some things and gave them some powers and did some things.
It's just a small microscopic level of study.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing that anyone can do it. So good on you, girl.
Absolutely. All right, let's do some shout outs.
Save some lives.
1,000%. I think I can't wait to be one of the lives that you save one day with your nanobots. Hopefully I get superpowers and the ability to do some dope shit. Let me look at some let me see. Let's see who tweeted us. Let's see who actually just supported the love. All right. B Mills, as usual. Thank you so much for the love. We love that you retweet us so much. Two awkward millennials. Actually,
Thank you.
Everybody I'm saying, we're going to have you on this podcast eventually. The John Effect.
What up?
Al Diddy, my partner in crime with Woke with Kids. We are from Bad News. Terrace Dixon, Say Words, and the Two Squares podcast. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate y'all support and the love. And, if you guys disagree with anything we say, you can tweet us or add us or send us an email, wokewithkids@gmail.com. Hold us accountable. If you want to be on the podcast, reach out to Melissa. She will ignore you. And then I will get back to you like 6 months later. And then we'll have you on the podcast.
I won't ignore you. Okay. Also, go see Sorry to Bother You. It's it's essentially a black indie film
1,000.
From an Oakland director named Boots Riley, starring Lakeith Stanfield and Tessa Thompson.
Most def.
I've been hearing good things.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things.
If you've ever seen a quirky comedy, basically starring all white people, a la Wes Anderson, and you're like, damn.
Why can't
I wish I could see a film like this.
Yeah.
That had black people.
Here you go.
Apparently, this is the film you need to go see. Sorry to bother you.
Quirky, weird, absurdist. It's going to be dope.
It basically opens. It's in a limited release right now, but Friday, July 13th, it'll open up. So check your local listings.
That's right. Until next. Okay, then. So then, yeah, I think that's it. Until next time, stay woke. Kit, do you want to tell anything special before we go, or is that it? Was that the final thing?
Well, you already said our outro, our final tag. No. You ready? Bye. He was like, bye.
Bye. See you guys.